unknown. What is it? Is it real? And what is it doing there?
Now they're speaking out, saying there are UFOs in U.S. airspace and they need to be taken seriously.
A family in Highland, Michigan believes their house is actually haunted and thinks something is harming their little girl. They're unidentified in U.S. airspace.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
I'm Todd Bates. I've been investigating the paranormal for years, yet still have no definite answers. Join me on this mysterious journey as we discuss all things paranormal, right down to the little gnomes. Why do millions experience these mysterious phenomenon, yet we have no proof? Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio, where I try and gather the pieces that may one day form yet another puzzle. And a good evening, one and all. Welcome, welcome. Haunted Voices live right here on Sacred Spiral Network. A lot of you folks are probably freaking out about now, wondering why the hell am I here? Well, first and foremost, let's get some thank yous out of the way. I'd like to thank the station, Sacred Spiral Network, for letting us use the station tonight and maybe in the future as well for some things. I don't know. But I do want to tell you they are accepting programming at this time. Everything is up and running. I'm so happy to be a part of that station. SacredSpiralNetwork.com. It's live, it's active, it's ready for you. Go there, check it out, folks. You can watch the show over there as well. And tonight's guest, oh my goodness, to go back. Tonight's guest, Deb and Tony Pickman, they're going to be coming on here shortly, folks. You do not want to miss this show. This show is a 2-hour special. We're going to go till 10 p.m. Central, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to sit down with Deb and Tony, go back in the past, kind of see what they're going through in the future here, what's coming up, what's going on. Pickman's Unfiltered. What in the world is that? All of that is coming out soon tonight. So definitely stay tuned. Share this, if you will, on the social media. Just hit the share button, send it out there, get some more people in here, get as many as we can, because Deb and Tony are coming out of retirement just like I am with this fun stuff. And the big news, Sherry is back. And honey, if you're watching, I love you so much. You are a trooper. You did it. She is back. She's in better health, folks. She had a bad reaction to a medication, and she had some fibromyalgia issues. And thanks to Deb, holy cow, did we uncover some things. She is good to go. She's here with us tonight. And it's just been a rocky road. I know I said that the last show was the last show, but I had no closure with that, folks. I had no closure. With this program tonight, I'm finally going to have a little bit of closure. Nothing scheduled to do in the future or anything. This is a special show because Deb and Tony, they're not my friends. They're my family. I've known them for close to 30 years, folks. Been in the thick with them. Been in some scary situations. Bawled like a baby on Deb's shoulder. So many things have happened with these two. They are amazing people. We're going to get their story here in just a moment. But first, I want to say some hellos out there to all the people that are tuning in. Hi to Meg. Hi, John. Oh, my goodness. See, couldn't start the show without you, John. He's a long-time listener. Tina. Hey, Taylor, Tay-Tay. Yes, even my coworkers are watching tonight. That's pretty cool. Hi, Jana, Jennifer, Courtney. I've missed you, hon. I've missed you. Bonnie as well. Bonnie Boggs. Oh, my goodness. So many wonderful people. Tim Bear. Oh, and Deanna's there as well. Stanley, my friend. Great to see you. So many people coming in here. And like I said, it's a 2-hour special tonight. We're going to have a blast. We've got some EVP that we're going to air here later on, a ton of those. And then later, toward the end of the show, what I'm going to do is send out a backstage link. Now, this link is going to get you backstage with us, and we'll bring you on screen, kind of like a modern call-in show, where you guys can post your comments to Deb and Tony, or whatever you want to talk about. If you've been to the Sally House, we'd love to hear about it, because it's an awesome Chip Conway. Holy cow. How you doing, Chip? My longtime friend. Oh, it's so good to see you. Michael Christopher as well. Oh, you guys are going to put me in tears. You're going to put me in tears, I tell you. Hello to everybody. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to bring these two in, and we're going to talk about the past a little bit, reintroduce Deb and Tony Pickman to you all. Then we're going to jump into some EVP, some investigation stories. We're going to get caught up in some good stuff, folks. So what you want to do is hang tight. While the break is going, you can watch it, or you can share this thing on the social media. Share the hell out of it, because this is probably going to be the last one for quite a while. So stay tuned. More Haunted Voices on the way right here. Sacred Spiral Network. We'll be right back. Seven minutes past the hour. Welcome back, folks. We are live here with Haunted Voices, special episode, 2-hour episode. We're going to go till 10 p.m. Those of you just joining us here, tonight's guests are none other than the Pickmans of the Sally House. Now, you may have, I'm going to show my age here. Back in the 90s, the Sightings TV show, they were all over it. Tony has been through a lot. And right alongside him all these years is his beautiful, wonderful wife, Deborah. Now, these two have been, and I'm going to use this word, in the shit, folks. They have been into some very, very, very malevolent hauntings. They have had several situations where it's caused bodily harm. There's so many things that we're going to discuss here tonight. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to post those in the comments and we'll air them. That way we get to everybody's question in order, hopefully, and they're going to be scattered here throughout. So it's one of those shows. It's unscripted tonight. There's nothing going on. We're going to go through, cover what we can in the amount of time that we have, and answer as many questions as possible and get you fine folks here backstage. But without further ado, let's welcome Deborah and Tony Pickman back to Haunted Voices. Hey guys, so great to have you.
Hey Todd, how you doing?
Hi.
Good to be here.
I'm hanging in there. It is so good to have you two back on the show. To have you two back, period.
Right.
Awesome
it is
to be
so
here.
good to be back with you. You've always been our favorite radio host.
Aww.
Our first and favorite.
Oh,
The first
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
I know.
we've covered
That was
it.
a long time ago.
I know. I've been doing this a little while, a couple weeks. But there's so much to talk to you two about. I mean, what I'd like to do, there's a lot of people here tonight, of course, that are jumping up and down right now, just seeing you two. And we're going to get down to the reason why you two are sitting in such a beautiful RV. We're going to get down to that here in a minute. But let's kind of go back in time. For those that aren't maybe familiar with the Pickmans, take us back to the Sally house in the 90s.
We'll run with that.
Well, we learned we were pregnant and we're looking for something a little bit more permanent to grow our family in other than the little crappy little house that we were living in. It was a rental. So we found this one. It was bigger, still a rental, but it was pretty ideal. And we thought it was ideal.
More room, more spacious. My younger brother lived right next door. For a while, he was renting a house next door. So it seemed like the perfect place to go. And stuff. Sorry.
There'll be plenty of those tonight. Don't worry.
So that was what, 93?
93. Yeah, because our oldest was born in 93. And before he was born, we moved in that December in 92. He was born in June of 93. Within that 6-month time span, we had so much activity that we didn't know it was activity. We were, trying to figure out, well, why is the dog food molding? We just put it in the bowl. Why are the pictures on the stairs upside
why does
down?
the TV turn on and off 6 or 7 times when we're trying to go to bed? Why?
It's just little things like that, and it got to the point where we ruled out. It was it wasn't an error. It wasn't a natural occurrence. It was different.
We would inform the landlord that maybe he ought to check the electricity in the house or something. Maybe there's a short circuit or something, and he'd have all that done, and everything had turned out fine. So it was just a constant and ongoing kind of thing.
And at this time, you weren't into the paranormal. You weren't investigators. You were new to the whole thing. You're a young family just wanting to get into a home and just get by. And then all these things start happening.
I had interest when I was younger. I'd always been interested in the paranormal. And, I say this and people they probably laugh at me for it. I always wanted a ghost of my own. And yeah, be careful what you wish for.
I did not.
No.
I did not.
Now you have the strange occurrences happening in the house. You've got the electrical issues. It definitely wasn't a short circuit. It was something with it. The TV, toys, dolls. When did things start to get really scary?
It's probably when your sister came to visit.
Yeah. The baby kept waking up. It was, after babies are born, they have they get acclimated to their surroundings, and they fall asleep better, and they hold the whole night, And he wasn't doing this, and at about, I want to say 6 weeks or so, we were just exhausted,
totally worn out.
And my sister, she came up to help us out.
She lived in Buffalo, New York, and
yeah, so I guess she came down.
Yeah, came down. But she flew up to help out and
down.
And because I was working nights at the time and just not getting any sleep, and we
were exhausted.
Yeah, our baby was waking up. It was awkwardly nonstop. I mean, it was just all night.
It was more than normal.
Yeah.
We still didn't realize that there was something else going on and that could be affecting the baby. And when she came up, we did our thing, the visiting, go to in-laws, play with the baby, to go on outings, whatever. And the last night, we got some scary movies. And
that helps.
Yeah. And decided it was going to be an adult night at home. I don't think we had any alcohol or anything like that.
No.
Because I was breastfeeding still. We get home, and the all the stuffed animals in the nursery. Tony goes up to use the restroom. and he comes down.
And when I'd gone up, I'd noticed, I'd kind of glanced into the nursery, and there was like certain toys that I knew usually went on the shelves and stuff, but they were on the floor in a circle. And I thought, well, I said, Deb and her sister must have been up there and messing with the, playing with the baby and stuff. So I come down and ask them about it. I said, did you guys put all the stuffed animals in a circle and all that upstairs? And they just looked at me clueless, like,
Wow.
what are you talking about?
So we went to go look, and yeah, very, very organized, like someone specifically set them up in that way. We were gone the whole day.
So
Wow.
I guess we just kind of, we thought,
We
well,
put everything back.
my brother lives next door. Maybe he's over here, practical joke or something.
We put everything back.
Everything back. We started to proceed down the stairs, and we were all together. We went down the stairs. We shut the light off in the room, went down the stairs. Before we got like halfway down the stairs, the light flicks on. I mean, we could literally hear it flick on. And we go back up,
and
the
there's
toys
bear,
are back on the floor in the
yeah.
circle. And I mean, this is like they had to travel 4 to 5 foot
Yeah,
to get
easily.
there.
We
Holy
looked
cow.
around for, because him and his brothers, they went to have a good time, and who knows, they prank and be goofy and stuff. So we thought, okay, yeah, maybe they're hiding in, his brother, like you said, lives next door. Maybe he's hiding in a closet. We checked things for magnets and strings. The windows were closed. Cats aren't going to organize things. There was nothing to explain what was going on. So then we called his brother over, trying to think, someone else can help us witness this and figure it out, because we were thinking,
Yeah, we were kind of freaking out at this point because we couldn't. There was no explanation for it. We couldn't figure out a reasoning for what had happened.
And when you question your own senses, you need somebody else's senses to take over.
One of my brothers is very rational thinking, so we called him, and he came over, and amidst talking to him, he went through the house and all that.
Of course, nothing happened while he was there.
Of course, like a mechanic.
Exactly. And
But
go ahead.
he worked for a woman whose sister used to live in town, and she was coming into town within the next couple weeks, and she was a psychic. This was Barbara Connor.
Mm-hmm.
So when she came to the house, everything changed.
It escalated.
It
It
escalated.
escalated, and that's Taylor is asking, when did you realize it was something more? And I think we're getting into that right now.
Yeah.
Well, not probably for another good 6 to 9 months, I'm going to say.
It's amazing how much your mind will try to rationalize things that there's really no way to, but you'll try to do it anyway. And we did that for the longest time. Just tried to, it has to be a power glitch. It has to be, we came up with a lot of stupid excuses why things would happen.
Sure.
And then when Barbara came, she kind of validated, that we had a little spirit girl in the house, and that's why the baby was being affected. She wanted to play with the baby, and now she was waking him up all the time, or maybe she was checking to see if the baby was breathing. Maybe it was a SIDS baby. We never got that cleared up. But my heart almost went out to her. Of course, I'm a new mom, so my heart's going to go out to every little thing, right?
Sure.
And she kind of suggested that you
embrace her to help
embrace this little
keep her
spirit
from doing damaging things, because at this point things had escalated into fires.
Yeah, we would have candles light for no reason.
Binkies fly across the room, lit up on fire.
Yeah,
so fire comes into the picture. That has a tendency to change things.
Oh,
yeah,
very much so.
It's kind of interesting because we took it that she was trying to get our attention. Hello, I'm here. Pay attention to me. Of course, this is probably mother processing thoughts. I don't know. So we had a really interesting experience around the Christmas time. Of course, we've got the photos that show two different entities this is when we started to think, oh, maybe there's more going on than we think. So this is a year after we've moved in. By the Christmas party that we were celebrating, we had close to 50 people in the house for the evening. So it's hard to know everything.
Sure.
But I'll tell you, I'm damn straight positive that no one set afire the little mop doll that was sitting on the stairs going up the stairs, on a carpeted stairs. Tony had to grab it and take it to the room or the bathroom.
One of my brothers, I have 6 brothers, and it was basically a family Christmas thing, and I have a huge family, so there were quite a few people there. But as you know, towards the close of the night, people are starting to leave, and my brother went to get his coat, and he said, "Hey, there's something burning on your stairs." And we all ran around there, and yeah, here's this little mop doll with the top of its head it's just like it was a flame, but the flame was almost like a torch. How you light a little propane torch.
It was very localized, because what actually got burned on that doll is like underneath the rim of the hat.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the hat was like straw. The whole doll should have gone up, but it was only localized to a very small area.
And that was one thing that we noticed with a lot of the fires that occurred in the house, the little fires, was things burnt from the inside out instead of the outside of something being burnt. You wouldn't notice a burn on the outside. Maybe there's usually a ring, like a ring where stuff had melted, but not that bad. But if you cut it open, it was burnt on the inside.
There's a picture of a rose that when Sightings was at the house and they were filming on, I don't remember which episode it was, but we had Tony picked a rose from the garden, and I had it in like a little vase on the windowsill, and at some point we had stopped the taping, take a break kind of thing, and I went to, I don't know, do something at the kitchen sink, and the rose I noticed that he had just picked earlier that day was burnt to a crisp around all the little edges of the leaves. And they went back on the tape to look, to see if they had caught the rose, a visual on it in any of the other recordings that they had done. And they did about an hour earlier or something like that. And there was nothing wrong with the rose.
Wow.
Howard Heim was an investigator on that particular Sightings episode. They had brought him in, and he looked at it, and he was so confounded because he's looking at it with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, he said you would have literally had to take this flower apart, petal by petal, and burn it from the bottom of the petal up, and then put it back together.
And then put the rose back together.
It just doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. That's supernatural in itself right there. I mean, that's...
Yeah. So things did start to escalate.
Physically, I think the first physically thing we saw was I had a brother over one day, and he was just kind of we had a camera out, and we were just kind of being smart alecks, and he said, "All right, Sally, if you're here, do something." And when he said that, we had a teddy bear sitting by the TV, and I just remember it did this perfect spin in a circle. And he snapped the picture. In the picture, it's just blurry from the movement. But it freaked us out. And
Tony, no offense, but if I saw that, I would crap my pants.
Yeah, I literally.
Yeah.
About the.
That was the morning after Barbara Connor was there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that spirit had a lot of energy or whatnot. But here's the thing. We put all this energy into thinking, believing, being led to believe. I don't know how to actually present that. That we have a little spirit of a 7-year-old girl, innocent, right?
Sure.
This is not what
I found. That I could never. I know Deb she could go around and she could talk to this little girl and act like, hey, come here, Sally, sit on my lap. I could never do that. Something just didn't seem right to me. I couldn't figure out why a little girl would be lighting fires and. But go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot where I was going with that one.
Interrupted.
I go squirrel. No, you didn't interrupt me. No, I was talking about the Christmas party. So we had Santa show up at the Christmas party. We had all these little gift bags for all the little kids that were at the Christmas party. And Santa gave out the gifts to everybody. Well, Taylor, our newborn, almost a year old, was upstairs. He'd been put to bed already. Santa came late. So we were going to have Santa come back the next day so we could get the picture ops and stuff like that. So the person who dressed up as Santa the night before came back the next day. Oh, I have to step back just a moment again.
Well, it's been 30
I know.
years.
It's been a long time, guys.
I know.
And more are going to resurface as the night goes on. So
right.
Yeah.
So we knew at one point that this little spirit that we named and entertained was trying to communicate and trying to say, hey, I'm here, pay attention to me. And with the fires that were arbitrarily being lit, we knew that wasn't safe. So to make it a little safer, we thought, here is an oil lamp, put the fire in here when you want us to see you or know that you're around.
good idea.
Okay. Fast forward to the day that Santa came by to give Taylor his little birthday bag and gifts. She walks, Santa's our aunt, she walks in the door, ho, ho, ho. I'm standing between Santa, I'm holding the baby, the oil lamp is on the table behind me. Santa suddenly says, oh, what's going on behind you? Well, of course, we turn around and look, and there's billowing smoke, black smoke coming out of the oil lamp. We interpreted that she felt left out from the night before, and she wanted Santa's acknowledgement.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I don't think you knew about that story.
I love that story.
Isn't it? See,
that
and
is
to be
crazy.
this endearing, that made me even do more mommy kind of stuff.
Yes, and
It
it would scare the hell out of me too, Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with a child, which
We think.
that we think.
As a new
dealing with a
father, you just
child.
want to protect your baby, and all I can think
Yes.
was, if it can light these little fires, it could literally set us on fire. What's keeping it from doing that?
Exactly.
So that was always in the back of my mind.
Well, and how do you punish or correct a child that's doing something wrong? You know, lighting fires, or you want to make sure it's going to behave and
Of course.
be good around your infant and in your house. I mean, your whole life is in jeopardy if this thing doesn't behave.
And it's
scary
crazy.
thoughts.
You know, you have this entity in your home with your children, with yourselves. You have everything in there. And of course, every family wants their children safe and they feel the house is safe. But now you have this entity catching fires here and there, causing disruption, causing just panic and chaos. The question is, why stay?
We didn't really have a choice at the time.
No,
We were young.
young, stupid.
Well,
Yeah.
we didn't
But
realize how
most
much
of it was
danger we
just-
were in.
Most of it was just our financial situation.
Yeah,
We found a place that we could finally afford the rent, and
we
it-
doubled down on it.
it was such
We
a
put
quick
all our
move.
money into it.
we just honestly we just couldn't afford to move out. It was just the best rent we'd found for at the time.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
So we kind of needed to be there. Trying to think how to, because we could go on for.
I would do the same thing if I was put in your guys' situation with a I mean, it's a beautiful home. It's a nice little house. It really is.
It is
And-
an adorable little house.
It is, and it's perfect for a small family, you know. And times are tough. You guys have to stay there and stick it out. You're trying to coexist with this being, whatever it may be, and you're doing the best you can, I respect you for that highly, because you guys went through hell. You went through hell, and things did escalate. They did get worse. Physical harm was caused, was it not?
It was.
Oh yeah, I can remember Tony coming upstairs. I had gone up to take a shower. When I got out of the shower, I had left him on the couch sleeping. When I come out of the shower, he's standing in the hallway. He's just fit to be tied. He drops his drawers in anger. He turns around and shows me his backside. And just like on the backside of his upper calf, no, not calf, thigh, he had bite mark. Teeth marks.
And they were like the size of a child.
A child's. And the baby didn't have any teeth at that point. So this is where the physical shit started.
So what it seems like the childlike spirit is very fond of you, Deb. And when Tony interferes, it gets pissed off and throws a tantrum, correct?
Well, I'll take it one step further when Tony doesn't acknowledge it.
Ah.
Because we had been downstairs. When she was around, we noticed another thing that would happen. The balls on the ceiling light, they would jump around or they would swing in the opposite direction of where the way the blades were going.
Yeah, if we were sitting watching TV, you could literally sit there and watch them, and they'd go the opposite direction of the fan blades, and sometimes they would get really fast. Like somebody was just.
And they would stop, and they would go in the opposite direction. It was something that she played
and
with.
when they stopped, it would stop
dead.
I mean, just stop, no movement at all. And then occasionally you would see them bouncing up and down like someone was underneath flicking them up.
But I can remember we were having a conversation before I went up to take my shower or whatever it was. We had noticed that she was around because of the balls, and I had tried to get Tony to just say hi to her, and he wouldn't. So she bit him. At least this is what we perceived. So things started escalating, and we always thought it was because he was not acknowledging her. And so the attacks became more focused on him. And they just escalated.
Which makes total sense to me. And Tony, I'm sure you'll jump in as well. I was raised Catholic. We were taught not to acknowledge those kinds of things.
Exactly.
Not to acknowledge them.
And that they started escalating to the physical stuff, the scratches. I'm like, I can't, there was no way I could wrap my mind around a little girl doing that. So I had a really hard time just believing that this was a little girl doing all this stuff. Those first 3 scratches I'll never forget, because it just,
right.
We were packing up to go to my parents, and you know how you are, you're trying to pack your baby up, get the diaper bag, all that, and rush around to get somewhere.
Well, it was right after him and his brother had seen the bear turn around.
Yeah, we were nervous.
It was an exodus.
Yeah, we wanted it out of the house because we were scared.
So anxiety was heightened.
And as we're packing stuff, I'm getting the baby into his car carrier or car seat inside the house, and it felt like a bee sting, like a really strong bee sting. But I was in such a hurry, I just wanted out of there that I didn't pay much attention to it till we got over to my parents' house, and it was really burning. So I mentioned to Deb that I said I got stung by something while we were getting ready. So she said, "Well, let me see what it looks like."
I about dropped to my knees when I lifted his shirt, because there were welts that were a good 6 inches, 3 of them on his lower back. I said, "You don't have a bug bite, you have scratches."
And
so that, I mean, when you realize that they can reach out to you and
when they can
cause harm, that's a whole new element. That's a whole new level of understanding and craziness.
And keep in mind, at this point, there was not a whole lot of, like today, paranormal's everywhere. You see it on TV. There's so many shows. Back then, there was nothing. We had unsolved mysteries, was probably the biggest show out, and it wasn't always on Ghost. It was just, you know, Unsolved Mysteries.
Sure.
But growing up, I can. The movie The Exorcist scared the hell out of me.
Oh yeah,
And
still
when you have
does.
something that you can't see scratching you and doing physical harm, that was in the back of my head. It honestly scared the hell out of me. I thought, oh my God, you know, this is Exorcist type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what could do this? What could cause this? And Bailey, hi Bailey. She's asking, do you think the attacks were focused on you because of her alleged cause of death?
You know, back then I might have thought so.
We did research on the house, and there was Dr. Finney who lived in the house. He built the house. He lived in, most of his family lived next door. Finney was a doctor. His practice was downtown. There was really no reason why he would have had any practice in the house. The house is structured where there's no privacy for like an office. You can't just, you know, use this part of the house for doctor. It would have had to have been the whole downstairs, which meant only the upstairs would have been for the family, and then there's simply bedrooms. There's no proof that Sally existed.
Mm-hmm.
With that storyline that everybody knows, oh, she was cut open with a surgery gone botched bad. There's really nothing to back that up.
Nope.
There's records that, what was it, 7 people passed in the house?
Yeah, there's several people.
There's several people that have passed in the house, but I mean, you're talking hundreds of years ago, and the records.
The flood of '58 wiped out a lot of the records for the town.
Yeah.
So we've lost quite a bit that we will probably never know, but we do know that while Dr. Finney was there, he had his own practice downtown. Well, I don't see that somebody would have brought a little girl in the middle of the night. There's nothing in the newspapers or anything we filtered through. Nothing like that.
And the records that talk about the deaths in the house, it doesn't specifically say what type of death. It just, you know, mentions there was a death in the house. So what they died of, I have no idea.
That's a toss-up and could be a lot of different things, and that's where the folklore gets started, because people want to put 2 and 2 together. Our brains try to make sense.
Our brains need some kind of closure on things. You're
something.
Right. Yes.
We should go back, Todd. We should tell you that the name Sally first came about with Barb O'Connor, first psychic that we had in the house. She was the first one to come up with that name. She said, there's a little girl here named Sally. Later on down the road, you know, as sightings got involved and they were bringing people in, the psychic they brought in was Peter James.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He happened to cross that name too.
He hit on her probably within 5 minutes of walking in the door.
He said, there's a little girl here. She's holding her arm like she's hurt, and she's calling herself Sally. So there's, now, you know, psychics coming. That's how come the name stuck.
And didn't she cause harm to him too as well, guys?
What's that?
Didn't she cause some harm to him too? Burn his mustache or something?
Yeah, Peter's? I think it was his cheek when he was in there. That was one of the last investigations, and that was after we moved out of the house, and I think that was almost meant to be like a control investigation. The house was empty, and they tested, you know, different areas of the house to see if things were still going on, if there was any reaction to things, and yeah, they got their fill.
What a mess. And Jennifer's asking here real quick, so why do you think that some spirits stick around and bother us living humans? That's a good question. Why do you think they stick around, guys?
You know, I don't know. The more we've learned about the house and what we experienced in there, we believe that there's a stronger entity there that has basically trapped other spirits there. I do believe there's a demonic type spirit and for some reason it has trapped other spirits there, and doesn't want them to leave.
There's a plethora of identities that we've picked up through EVPs and stuff like that over the years, and through so many different investigations that we've done on our own and with other people. But
so you think the house is like a giant vortex or portal or something?
We do.
Kind of like a bus station.
And Peter,
some come and go, some stay or hang out there, or are always there, or always available.
I remember a session with Sightings and Peter James, and he picked up on a portal in the what would you call it, the dining room?
You know that wall in the dining room against the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
It always got nasty.
The wall always bubbled.
Yeah, it always kind of like deteriorated from within. Yeah.
He claimed there was a portal there and things were coming and going. But he also claimed there was
and he would have had no way to know that wall had anything going on because the landlord had just repaired it before he had arrived.
Yeah. So I think things are probably tied to the land where the house was built. I really don't have a perfect explanation. That's what's so hard to this day.
It's hard to find one for something like that. Yeah. It's hard to put a label on it.
It had a little bit of everything. I just know that the stuff that I ended up experiencing, it was just evil. From the things I saw to the feelings I was getting in the house, it was literally oppression is the word that comes to mind, because I was literally becoming oppressed.
And that's what I was getting ready to get into, Tony, is, first of all, Courtney's asking what kind of doctor was Doc Finney?
I think he was just a family practitioner.
Like an MD?
Yeah.
And you guys went through hell in this house. You had all kinds of things happen, down to fire. I mean, now you have psychics in there probably stirring a few things up. And it comes down to how it affects you two individually. All of this. Now, without getting too personal, I don't want you guys to have to get too personal. There's been, and I know, and I'll get into some stories of some hell the three of us have been through as well. But when did things start to affect physically and mentally? When did the oppression took over? And it's going to take over, it's going to find a host.
Let me preface that for just a minute, because when I should have realized what was going on, that the oppression had started, this was the experience that I should have seen it. We're both sitting on a long wraparound couch, side by side. I'm sitting here. He's laying down, his head at this end, watching TV. He's been sleeping for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. He all of a sudden just sits up fairly easily, calmly, not like quickly or anything. He looks at me and says, "He's mine."
Wow.
Mechanically. And wow. I, at the time, thought he was talking about the baby and being protective over the baby. But I do think that was whatever was oppressing him was letting me know it had control of him.
And I guess for me, it started out slow. It was the fact in the back of my mind, I was going through all this stuff. The scratches were happening. I was losing weight just because I was so nervous. It was like living with a sniper. You woke up, you never know what it's going to bring. So you were always I was scared. And your
awareness had to be super heightened, Tony. Yeah. I mean, stressful.
And I couldn't wrap my head around why she couldn't see what I was feeling, what I was going through, and how she could still be kind of acceptive of this little girl. And it started causing resentment. And once that resentment was there, I swear to God, there was days I'd be in the house and I would hear voices in my head that they did not say good things about her. It was like, you know,
we've been, how many times have you been in the house? We've investigated the house, and I've always told people, be careful going in. Don't go in if you're pissed off with your boss, if your car mechanic can't get your car fixed and you got frustration there, if you're having a bad ADHD day or a bad anger day or whatever, don't go in with those things, because without them in control, because that thing, whatever's in that house, will latch onto it and make it 10 times worse.
Exactly.
Feeds on it, doesn't it?
Yes.
It just feeds on it.
And that's what it did me. It fed on my fear. It fed on the resentment, insecurities. And I do believe that's one reason I was a target, because I was not a very secure person at the time. And from what I've learned, throughout the years, demonic spirits will target out the one that is the weakest. And I was literally the weakest at that time. And I think that's what happened. I think it targeted me out, and it literally had me to the point to where I was close. I was so close to being taken over by something, because I couldn't think straight. And when I was in the house, it wasn't me thinking. It was voices in my head, and telling me to do this, to do that.
And by the way, he doesn't have these voices in his head anymore.
No, I do
not. It's
not.
a mental thing.
I never had them before. I don't have them now.
Those that know Tony know better.
His voices all come out.
Exactly. So
and with it, with that stage, and with everything that's going on in the house, and you want answers. I mean, you must have answers. And that has got to be, I know, with investigating the damn place, it consumes the investigator as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I became obsessed with it. You guys know that. I became obsessed with
is very obsessive.
It is. People.
Yes.
And it eats and eats and eats. It makes you do crazy things. And the safe place is across the street over there at the Glick, if it's still there. I mean, there's so many times running out of there. And I want to take everybody back to a point. This was probably 2009, 2010. We'll jump up here. You guys had moved out. You reestablished another home there in Atchison, and had gone in there after being warned. We went in, and to do a little backstory beforehand, at your previous home, which we went to first, you guys were missing a remote control, if I remember.
Mm-hmm. For months.
For months. It was gone. I mean, it was a no-show. It was out of there.
Nope.
So here we are. We go into the home, and Tony, being the catalyst that he is, he just is. You are a beacon, I think, for spirits, Tony.
That's a good word.
Yes, I found that out.
We sat you down in the dining room chair.
Why did we sit him down in that chair, Todd?
Because I wouldn't let him go anywhere.
But why? Do you remember why?
We were filming it.
No.
Why?
What happened upstairs that freaked us all out? We went flying out the front door.
That is what's coming.
Okay. That's why you had him sitting in that chair and wouldn't let him move.
But the remote control appeared underneath Tony, folks, underneath the man. And he pulls it out, and I kid you not, it was melting.
No, I have a picture. It's one of your investigators found it.
It was
standing
melting
behind him and said, "What's this?"
They said they saw a light flash, and there it was.
and it was
Crazy.
melting. It was still melting. It
Oh,
was
I should've-
cracking, making noise. We
It
brought it
looked
to the
like
kitchen.
Somebody had grabbed
Twisted
and
it.
twisted it.
Mm-hmm.
I still have it.
It was oh, good. It was beyond horrifying. The whole thing was. And
It was
with that being
dumbfounding.
said, we proceeded upstairs. Now, if you remember, Michael Chappell and I were filming in Sally's room, and you guys were in the master going, you know, just kind of. Tony was feeling his way through, and he was really, you know, Tony was
Because
really
we hadn't been there
tense.
for so long.
It had been 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years, if I remember. His first time in there in 10 years. And when we went in there, you know, he was tense. And Deb, you have always been a rock. Always been a rock. Rock for me, rock for the other investigators. You've always been a rock. And Tony is just as strong. But unfortunately, he was facing something that was way more powerful than he was. Now he's upstairs, and Michael and I are coming out of the room, and this is when I was extremely horrified, folks. Here comes Deb and Tony out of the master bedroom. Tony is holding his arm. He's got a wound. We look at it. It was about a 2.5, 3 inch gash on your arm. Now, the strangest thing, guys, if you remember, it did not bleed until we left the house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was the deepest injury that he had ever gotten. He needed stitches for that.
Yeah, it's got a
It was
scar.
horrifying
Yeah.
to see that come out of thin air. You know, it makes a person pucker a little bit and not realize what they're up against. So, yeah.
It brings it real.
Yeah, it makes it real.
Yeah.
It really, you know, and then you see the blood, you see the harm, and Tony, that's when you acknowledged, okay, it's back. It still doesn't like me. It's still there. And, you know, that was that.
He wanted to go back in. You kept telling him, don't go back in. You don't have to go back in on our account. Don't do it. We'll be fine. You guys go home. And he would not give up. He would not let it have the last word.
No. And that's, I respect that strength. And that's why he sat in that chair the way you did.
Everybody could keep an eye on him.
It was because I felt so bad for you, Tony. I mean, you were in there getting beat up, and I didn't want you to go back in there and get beat up some more. But we had to learn, right? We had to learn. We had to figure this out, try to.
Mhm.
And it was god awful. It
Yeah,
was
I
a horrible
remember
experience.
Sightings feeling that same way. They did a certain episode where they had me sitting in a rocking chair, and they brought in Carrie Gaynor, who was an investigator in the for what was the there's a famous movie about it.
Amity?
No. Entity.
Entity.
He
Yeah.
was investigators in the Entity and the Poltergeist movies. And they brought him in, and he would sit literally.
He would literally sit like this close to Tony.
And just watch. And they had me take my shirt off for that episode. And it was a long night. It was hours and hours.
They filmed all night. It was a 24-hour taping.
And he would literally get so frustrated because I was getting huge scratches would just be there. They would just
They appeared.
yeah,
Yeah,
1
he
second
was-
they're there, 1 second they're not.
He'd throw his arms up. He'd say,
He's
"I'm
like, "I
sitting
don't
right
understand it."
here. How is this happening without?" It's hard to process when you're there in the moment. So many of the things.
And he had literally got to the point that night too that it was like, yeah, we can't put you through anymore. We're done. We don't have any answers. We're done. So
And that's the thing is I know I didn't like that, Tony. I didn't like either one of you two going in there because I know it triggered a lot of memories. For one thing, you guys probably had a lot of flashbacks and things going on. Plus, I think you're both empathic and beyond sensitive, to be honest with you,
I don't have a thing.
that you know of, Deb. But I think you guys, I think, you know, you're trying to conform to the norm with the whole thing and try to coexist the best you can. But it's constantly pushing you out. It's pushing you away. And to go back into something like that, some would say that's suicide. Some would say that's crazy. But in your defense, Tony, you had to face that fear.
Yeah, I had so many unanswered questions. I couldn't. It just drove me nuts wondering the whys. You know, why me? Why was this happening? What did I do to deserve it, basically?
And not that I think he got any of those answers.
No,
but he did go in and stand his ground. And remember, he said, "I'm not scared of your shit."
Mm-hmm. He did. You did, Tony.
Not that it did much good, but
yeah, because we've still, you know, had, I don't know, I think once you're touched by an extreme haunt or case or something like that, you're kind of always a target. You're always kind of like on call, so to speak.
Yeah, it's with you. And luckily throughout the years, we've come across a lot of people like you that have helped us understand some things and basically how to deal with it better.
Oh yeah, we've learned tons and tons of stuff from so many different groups and individuals over the years.
Yeah, back then it was just, you felt like a victim, and that was it. You can't deal with something you can't see.
And that's kind of why we put ourselves, and have in the past, and you know, that's kind of what we want to do, is put ourselves out there to be there for people who are in, you know, the place that we were in. Nobody should not feel comfortable in their own home and
feel helpless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was
I couldn't agree more. Taylor's asking you guys here real quick, do you think it's the land itself or the house?
I'm gonna go with the land.
I would too. We've learned from the past from us. I can't even remember who it was that found the information.
Francis from After Dark Paranormal, I think it was.
The house is actually built on land that Indians considered tainted.
Yeah.
It's where they would put their.
No.
It was an area of land where they kept their mentally unstable people in their tribe.
And their travels, Indian travels, avoided the area. Not to mention the, you know, the Missouri River is literally on the backside, half a mile from the backside of the house. So you have the sandstone, limestone. It runs all underneath, you know, where that river is, and next to the river and under our house and everything. So it's just like a battery down there for all kinds of paranormal energy.
Now, I'll ask this before I get to the next question. Now that you guys, you know, were out of the home, you were reestablished elsewhere in Atchison there, and when other investigators or teams went in there, did it stir anything up at home for you guys at your new home?
Oh, yeah.
Not always, but there are certain groups that, yeah.
We learned through the years that, you know, we would be home. I mean, there were some really outrageous things that happened. I mean, as far as I'd be sitting in a chair and would literally catch on fire. To knives being flown through a room, and
we had a knife about this long. Didn't see anything, but it was one night when the known investigators that would challenge over there, it seemed like we would get the repercussions. But he was sitting in a rocking chair next to the front window, and out of the blue, for no reason, as I'm talking to him, the curtain just, as if something went like this, and then you hear something like tink down at on the floor, not a tink, there had been a tink, but a thud on the
A
floor.
thud.
Yeah, and I went to go investigate, and it's this knife from the kitchen, our own kitchen.
Oh,
And
I
it was in
pissed
the
him.
wood block. Then I look at Tony. He's wearing, I think, a work shirt or something like that, and he has superficial cuts.
There's a slice
across
through the shirt.
both of his, just above his chest. Superficial. Very superficial on him. It went through the shirt, but ever so slightly.
You know, at first we're thinking, oh my God, it just followed us. It's going to follow us for the rest of our lives. But then we started syncing up that we would find out, well, someone was over in the house, you know, that night. And if you go back and watch YouTube videos or something, they were very challenging. And it seemed whenever someone was in there really challenging it, we would have
We'd have things happen at our house.
yeah.
So provoking. Yeah, let's talk about provoking for a second.
What's that?
Let's talk about provoking for a second.
Yeah.
Just a second, because I don't want to give it any glory. I just
Right.
want to tell everybody, don't freaking do it, because it's
Right.
stupid and you're an ass if you do it.
Agreed.
Don't provoke. Too many people
There's
do
other
that
ways to
because
get a reaction. Safer ways,
much safer ways.
right?
There's so many things going on with this, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
There is. We're together still. We have survived. It's been
It's been a
hell
battle.
and up and down, but
Dealing with all that and just you know, to this day I still have a strong I get a pull to go over there. I have to fight that constantly, and it's a pull it's so bad that I woke up one winter night barefoot. I'd walk from our house, it's 9 blocks away, and I was standing in that front yard. I don't know how I don't even remember walking over, but I was standing in the front yard in the snow barefoot.
it's funny. I just posted that on our page. Yeah.
So I fight that urge to go back, and you know, there's still so many questions and answers that
But I think we've realized that
it's not
the
worth
house plays games. It gives you tidbits, or it leads you down rabbit holes with EVPs and, you know, different things like that, activity. But you never get answers. And
it.
I think we've acknowledged that we're never going to have answers.
Yeah, it definitely plays. It works in a way that it's a divide and conquer. It wants you to fight. It wants you to.
Wants the
and that's literally
reaction,
what
that
it did while
negative
we were
reaction.
living there. It had us thinking 2 different ways, and we couldn't communicate. We couldn't. So it was dividing us apart, and it just made me an easier target. I didn't have her backing. She didn't have, you know, any of my support, and that's what they do. It comes down to divide and conquer, and it will conquer the weakest person there. And I mentally was probably the weakest person at the time.
And, you know, I look back and I can't, you know, I'm much more educated at this point as far as the paranormal goes. And I just can't imagine how alone he must have felt at the time, because the whole time things were going on, I'm like, oh, but I have my own ghostie. You know, I can write letters to her. She'll write back to me. I can sit and read a story to her. I can feel her when she's going up the stairs because it's a cold draft flying right by me. You know, I'm seeing the positive side of this. And Tony's telling me about the negative things, you know, the things that he hears at night in the walls, the scratching, the things that are, you know, waking him up, the handprints on his legs, you know, these things that he is experiencing that are very real to him. I'm kind of blowing off because he's working too hard. He's working 3rd shift. He's exhausted. Your mind must be playing jokes on you. So how alone must he have felt?
I think I literally set her down one day and told her, this thing wants me to hurt you, and it's going to happen.
He
Because it was
did,
that
and I
strong.
laughed at him because I'm like, it's never harmed me. It harms you.
She would walk by me in the house, and I to this day can still I can hear the voice. It would just say, hurt her, hurt her. She's it just had nothing positive to say about it.
Nothing.
And I started taking on that attitude. I started agreeing with it. You're right. She went, you know, I felt like you were going to hurt me with not, it's such a weird feeling. It's just, I can't explain it. You're just not yourself.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine going through that as a couple, as a person going through something like that, hearing these things, having no control over it, literally having something almost nearly inside of you. Now, I'll say, or I'll ask, you know, the oppression state, yes, I do believe that was there, but you weren't fully possessed, were you, Tony?
No, I do believe one day it had me close, because I hate talking about it. The incident with the animal somewhere, I can't, it's so hard to recall. All I know is there was a
stray cat that got in the house, and we are animal lovers. Tony,
we
is
had cats
as well.
of our own.
Yeah.
And while she was at work, I remember leaving that morning, and that's literally what I remember. Was leaving that morning to take our baby over to visit my parents, and everything seemed fine, which was typical. When I would leave the house, it was just like a big, I could breathe. It was like a big weight lifted off your shoulder, and things felt normal. But I remember coming home before she got off work, and that cat was stabbed to our counter in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, all I can figure is that I was the only one home. I don't know. Did I do it? And was that a possession type thing? Because I don't remember it. But yet
you fought.
And all I could think at the time was, oh my God, I can't believe this. I got to get this cleaned up before Deb gets home. And
yeah, because I didn't know about it until I didn't know about anything that it was going on as far as his negative focus and feelings on me. I didn't know any of this until about a year later when we were out of the house and living in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So that had to be terrifying to him. So much so every time he left the house, knowing that he's got those thoughts rolling around in his head. What the hell, where the hell did they come from, and how do I stop that?
And it was, you know, more terrifying when you first came back into the house. Because like I said, when you leave, I don't even have recollection of half the stuff. It was just, like I said, when you walked outside of the house, I could literally, I felt like I could breathe. It was just a whole different.
So almost as if whatever evil had their claws into you could not hold on once you walked out the door.
Yeah, I could say that. Because I could function at work, I could function at home. It was just so hard to explain.
It has to be. I mean, it's something of a supernatural nature that can't be explained. So that's hard to put it into words, Tony, and you've done a damn good job. So have you, Deb, because this stuff, I mean, I'm sorry, I would have pissed my pants, grabbed the couch, and hauled ass.
I should say it was literally, we got down to, I was just trying to survive. But at the same time, I should explain that, because, you know, you see people go into a haunted house, they do an investigation. One night, nothing happens. And they're like, oh, there's nothing here. We went through months at a time.
Weeks and months.
That nothing would happen. It was just, and you would think, it was just like, you'd start thinking again, oh, okay, it's back to normal.
Yeah, just as if just when you were getting comfortable, you'd have a whole 4 days of shit happening, or 2 weeks where you just didn't know what was going to happen around the next corner.
And it gets you thinking, okay, it's gone. And that's one way that made it easy for us to live there as long as we did. But then about the time you get really comfortable, wham, it would come on full force and things would seem worse.
So
yeah, because we did a shaman cleansing at one point up on the second floor in the hallway there. and it was dead ass quiet, nothing for 3 months, which
Mhm.
is, we had not had anything
We
like
literally
that.
thought we'd gotten rid of
Yeah.
whatever was there.
But then boom, came back with a vengeance.
Almost as
Scratches
if
got
it's
worse. Physical stuff where it would literally lift you off the floor, hold you down. I would have horrible. The master bedroom was horrible for me. I would hear scratching behind the headboard. Just it sounded like 30 squirrels running through there. I couldn't believe in my mind how she couldn't hear this because it was so loud. Furniture move upstairs. Things messing with me. I'd feel something grab my legs. And there was one particular night that how I did not have a heart attack, I have no idea, because to this day it scares the hell out of me. But I saw the little Sally girl standing by the side of the bed, and she kept reaching for me, and I was so scared at this time. I wanted nothing to do with it. So when she reached for me, I'd pull away. Well, about the third time she reached, she grabbed my arm and turned into something, Todd, that I really don't know how to describe.
You can't even describe the ugliness of it.
Part animal, part human. It was on all fours, but yet it had a human form. But I could literally see worms moving inside it, and it just looked rotted, almost like a rotted human. But yet it growled at me. It let out the worst growl that
And I heard nothing.
I thought my heart was going to stop.
And then the next morning, as if that wasn't terrifying enough, the next morning he wakes up, he's got a handprint, a child-size handprint on his wrist.
Just burnt.
The thumbs on the backside and four finger marks on the wrist.
So I could blow it off to what's the
it's kind of like his own Freddy Krueger experience.
Yeah.
There's a name for it where you are in a sleep and you're having a nightmare and
sleep paralysis.
Yeah, exactly. But yet I would have so much physical stuff happen in that I just can't.
This thing was trying to rip out your soul, Tony.
Yeah.
It was trying to consume you.
Yeah.
And you fought. You fought your ass off. Oh my God. And I'm sure you guys remember Bonnie Boggs.
Yes, I was just reading her question as
yep.
at the bottom of the screen. I most certainly do remember our
the Phantom Furniture.
Yes.
Yes.
I had never heard ghost furniture such as what we heard that night on your recordings when we re-listened to them.
Yeah,
that was
incredible.
Awesome. Yes,
that was incredible.
We were testing out different noises, weren't we? Pink noise and chrome.
Pink noise, brown noise. Yeah, we were doing different types of things in there to see what would happen, to see if we, if it would increase the activity, if we could see something manifest. There were so many different things going through my head. Yeah. And you guys, God, you guys are, both of you are tough as nails, tough as freaking nails. And
we set up in that nursery and just kept trying to have conversation. We didn't really know what was going on downstairs with you guys. You guys were hearing shit all over around you, I heard.
Yeah, it was it was interesting to say the least. I mean, the evidence pulled out of there, the knowledge, I should say, not the evidence, the knowledge pulled out of there can't be topped.
It was a lot of fun.
We had a great time on top of, in spite of what happened, it's always great when we get together and go back and talk and try to make sense of all this, because there's like you guys said, there's no way to explain it really. It's an experience, and it's an experience mainly meant for both of you. And you're trying your best to share it. And it's hard because, the feelings and the things you guys went through, they have no freaking words invented yet.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Especially back in '93. I mean, it was just paranormal was not what it is today.
Right. We didn't have the vocabulary we have today.
I mean, who did you tell? I couldn't go to work and tell the guys at work. I mentioned it to a couple guys, and I would go into work looking so horrible sometime with scratches, and they literally told me one day, we actually thought your wife was beating you in your sleep.
Dad's cracking.
I think have a little bit of anger at times that can just go from 0 to 100, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
All right. Now, Chip is asking, this was a rental when the activity started, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he goes on to say, how were you able to return to it after you relocated? And do you still have access? He asks.
Okay, so the house we moved into right after leaving that house,
Fifth Street.
it was
home. We moved home.
3 blocks away. We moved from North 2nd Street. What was it? The address is almost damn the same.
I love that second house, by the way.
Right?
That was epic.
It was nice.
But yeah, we moved 4 blocks away. Now we're a whole 7 blocks away. We eventually bought a house.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And
Now,
I guess you go back just because one, you know, we made friends with a lot of people. I mean, even with sightings, we got so close to. They were up so many times because their cast members were having things happen to them, and they would go back and tell you got to come see this place. You know, so we got to be friends with a lot of them, and it was a way to. Our lives were basically wrapped around paranormal. All our friends were in the paranormal,
yeah.
And if we wanted to see our friends and hang out with them, that's what they wanted to do. So you would go back in, and I'm gonna, you know, I know the scratches to everybody seem horrible, and they were. Some of them really hurt. Some of them I should have had stitches. I've got scars today from scratches, but 90% of the scratches I had no idea I was even being scratched. I didn't feel any. I might feel a really icy cold, but it wasn't a painful. It was just, it felt like somebody running an icicle down you or something. So I think that made it, I don't know, bearable.
yeah, that's a good word. Good word.
Yeah. So we would go back, and I said my biggest thing was just I felt I needed answers, and the only way I was going to get them was to go back and try to find them.
Well, for the longest time, you know, after we moved out of the house, you know, investigators started showing up, like you and your team and, you know, so many others. And they would always extend an invite. Hey, do you want to come in with us? Well, yeah, I do. Tony always stayed home.
Yeah, Tony always stayed home.
I wanted to
I started
process.
feeling left
I don't
out.
blame him. But yeah, it got to the point where there was one group out of Kansas that had been in there a lot prior to even contacting us, reaching out to us. And the evidence that they presented to us gave Tony perhaps a different perspective on what might be there. There were a lot of EVPs of children.
Yeah,
and
they were
people.
getting EVPs of little children talking, you know, and just, I guess the dad in me got a little protective. I felt like, well, maybe we can help whatever's there trapped leave. And a big part of it was, you know, Deb was going, it got to be where it was almost an every weekend thing. Another group.
You know
was
how popular the house is.
and if I wanted to see her or be around her,
That's so sad.
I finally just started going back over.
It's okay.
Well, no, it kind of is. The paranormal has really just wrapped up in our entire lives. And that is why we retired 5 years ago, to kind of spend a little bit time on us. We needed it. Our family
Yes.
did it.
We needed to recoup.
Yeah.
basically.
Yes.
And
Because you two did some investigating yourselves. You know, you
Yeah.
guys, all the knowledge that was gained and your experience gave you top tier in this.
Yeah.
because
in the extreme cases, especially.
Mhm.
And
And
that's
you
kind
went
of
out.
falling in our laps all the time.
And
we
that's the beauty of it, is you guys recovered. You know, it's in a place that didn't seem like there was any hope whatsoever. You two found it.
Mhm.
And here we are once again. And there's just, I mean, I'm holding back some tears because there's just been so much shit that we have been through. And you guys are still together. You guys are still strong and are only getting stronger as each day goes on. I mean,
You know you love each other when you can go through some of the.
Do you know we almost got divorced over a bottle of hairspray?
yeah,
It was a paranormal instance, a paranormal influence for sure. And I think it was
I used her hairspray. And,
No, it disappeared. I had just bought it. And it
that's
disappeared.
Right.
Yeah.
I just got accused of using her hairspray.
And then it showed up out of the blue in its bag in a place I would never have said it. And he hadn't been upstairs.
it wasn't
So
Tony.
it really opened up our eyes. I mean, we had been at each other's throats for probably 4 days.
Really bad.
Fit to be tied. Absolutely. I mean, it was just like the last catalyst.
And I really don't know what kicked it, what made us step back and think, you know what? The more we let this thing affect us, or we give it credit for affecting us, the more it does. And
We started erring on the side of caution when things would happen because we knew it was like a feeling about the incident or a feeling in the air, or it's hard to put a finger on it, but we began to get really good at recognizing when we were being
manipulated, basically.
Perfect word, by spirit, by negative spirit.
It's unbelievable.
So we would look at each other and say, yeah, okay, we just need to take a step back. And then it was all good. We were fine. And so erring on the side of caution all these years kind of was a double-edged sword almost, because it swept a lot of things under the rug, I think, too.
Mhm.
Oh, if it's paranormal, it'll be okay. We'll just let it go. That's not a good way to resolve some things, but
hey, whatever works.
at the time it was working great.
You guys are still here and kicking ass, and we've got some questions, and I want to take a quick break, and then of course get into some EVP that we have here as well to play some of those for these fine folks. And on this creepy month anyway, it's October, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But Bailey, she asked, did you guys ever have someone come and try and cleanse the house? I know you've mentioned mediums visiting. She says this is so intense. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's been several attempts, and we've had groups, come by our house, say, "Oh, well, we got rid of what was there. We did a cleansing; it's gone."
Or a binding, or there's so many different words given the way it's done or the process that
But I'll tell you, Todd, in this day and age, you have as many groups that will go in and cleanse. You've got just as many groups, if not more, that go in and bring something back.
Or undo all that cleansing and that binding that has taken place. So it's really a no-win situation, which is so unfortunate.
It's like a never-ending battle. I mean, Taylor's asking, was there something that you guys did or would do that would make the situation flare up at all?
I don't think so, except for every time Sightings came, the TV show came to do more filming and bring, somebody new that would help us understand things more, or new equipment, things would ramp up.
They would escalate, and it would cause us to argue like cats and dogs because
I would want to bring them in, and Tony's like, I've had enough.
Yeah, I don't. What's going to happen?
Right.
I was scared of,
But he'd give in every time, bless his heart.
And so you'd give in, and they'd come up. It would escalate.
He'd have battle scars.
I think a big part of it was it plays on that. It it was just another kind of divide and conquer, because tensions would be so high that, you know,
For
when
like
they
2
came
weeks
over,
before they came up, it was horrible.
and it fed off that.
Exactly.
And we realized, you know, now we can look back and say, hey,
Yeah,
that's the
now
case.
there's things we would definitely change. I would not engage with, you know, hello, Sally, how are you? You know, so that she could write back to me. I wouldn't put the toys in the corner. I wouldn't invite her to sit on my lap, or no, because that
You've
really
evolved.
isn't- Huh?
You've evolved.
Yes, you learn so much over the years. You know, you learn where the pitfalls are and what you're dealing with, and the possibilities that exist, and they are huge.
And I'll be honest with you, Todd. I don't know if I'll catch flack, but I believe in God. And
Why would you?
like some people today, it's a weird day and age.
God does.
I know.
God has helped us
And,
through many of our paranormal
yeah,
situations.
When going through all that, it was that was the one person I could talk to, and I did a lot of talking to God when I was living there, and even since, you know, it's only got stronger. So I think that's the
what
one
saved
good
you,
thing that's
Tony.
come from it, is it strengthened my faith in God. So
Both our faith.
yeah, both.
I think that's what saved you as well.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
100%.
Absolutely. I mean, there's, oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
it's bone chilling. I'm just glad you two are okay, and you are on to bigger and better things these
Oh,
days.
Yes, we
And
are.
we're going to get into some fun and a debriefing, if you will, an experience.
Yes, there's
Because
a lot of
people have questions and about the Sally House. Who best to ask than you? And you guys have something here that you're starting a new adventure, and I want to touch on this, and then we'll get to some EVP after the break. But in out of the darkness, you guys have come back into the light. You know, there's light there, and you're willing to share your story with other people. And you have something amazing that you two are doing. And of course, it's called Pickman's Unfiltered. And when I heard about this, you guys shared this with me. I mean, my face hurt. I was smiling so hard because this is going to help not only you two, but so many other people that come in contact with you around a campfire, in a casual setting, in a 2024 RV that you two are sitting in right now, is an
Yeah.
experience that people can have out there and ask you guys questions one-on-one and share stories, share their experiences along with yours. I mean, this is just amazing. And what I want to do, I want to take a break and I want to plug this. I know you guys don't want me to push it that much, but we're going to push it. We're going to plug this, and we come back, folks. We're going to play some EVP as well. We're going to get to that. I'll put out the backstage link for you as well to get a few people back here for a couple minutes. All that's coming up here. We've got about 30 minutes left in the broadcast. You guys hang tight and enjoy Pickman's Unfiltered here now. Love the Sally House and the Pickmans? Now you can have both with Pickman's Unfiltered. Hear firsthand accounts of the terrifying Sally House. Gain personal knowledge about things that have not yet been made public. Enjoy a roundtable discussion through your weekend visit with Tony and Deborah Pickman. Mind you, these are up close and personal conversations and not for the faint of heart. Did I mention that dinner is on the Pickmans? Yes, and you also received one autographed copy of Deborah's chilling book, The Sally House Haunting. But where do I stay, you ask? How about a first-class camping experience for up to 6 people in their beautiful 2024 Jayco Greyhawk RV? That's right, it's all yours for the weekend. This is a non-driving experience. You provide the travel to Atchison, Kansas, and the Pickman's Unfiltered experience takes care of the rest. That's dinner, firewood, seating, lanterns, linens, kitchen essentials, and so much more. So, gather your peeps, pack some clothes, and bring a little grub for the camping experience of a lifetime. This is not an investigation, but an intimate experience with Tony and Deborah Pickman of the Sally House. Pickman's Unfiltered. Just search Facebook and they'll take it from there. See you by the fire. Wow. That's what you have coming up here, folks. Pickman's Don't worry about it. It's Haunted Voices Unfiltered.
He had to pee so bad.
Oh, you guys, you do what you have to do. And, you know, what you two are doing with this, like I said, is going to help so many people. It's the coolest thing I've ever heard. It's an amazing, amazing idea. And to have people brought together like that, like-minded people to share stories, knowledge, evidence, perhaps, photos. I mean, so many different things can come from this. And I want to push this as much as I can, Deb, because I'm really, really, really adamant that this is going to help some people. And it's an amazing experience you're giving them.
We're both really excited because paranormal groups that maybe want to learn something from what we've experienced or see evidence or, know more about that story so that they can apply to other things. Maybe they've got experiences that would, correlate with some that we had. Or people, just a family. There's so many people out there. The whole family is interested in paranormal, and so I think it will be interesting to a lot of different levels of people.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I think it's a little bit more personal.
Yeah, we like the one-on-one.
Yeah, the conventions they're intimidating.
You just get up, you tell your story, and you walk away,
and you don't connect with as many people. Not on the level that they would like to be.
This gives us a chance to, I think, get more personal and tell them stuff that we feel they should know that we don't get that chance to tell them at a convention. Or
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can take the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And
not
it's
a number in a line.
Yeah, exactly. It's in an awesome setting. I mean, people sitting around a campfire in front of a beautiful RV. I'm down. I mean, that's a no-brainer. To talk to you two, to be able to sit down and talk and learn from you two. Researchers need to wake up and do this. And
we need to share more. Yeah.
Yes. Because there's too much in the field right now. The field is going to the wayside. It has for years. People are worried about likes and followers and film crews. No one wants to worry about getting down to the problem, asking the questions why, and trying to solve some of these things.
Those are the people I would love to connect with. And we've had so many conversations. Todd, we've invited groups, that go over to the house for years. We've invited them into our own home for, like a whole evening. We've sat up till 2:00 in the morning sometimes.
And sometimes they've decided not to go over.
Yeah. But the exchange of ideas and information and theories and things are some of the discussions we've had have opened up ideas about what we dealt with, the theories. And I mean, it's remarkable what you can garner from a conversation with another paranormal group, because they do things differently. They might have a different experience or theories.
Honestly, it's helped me feel not so different. I found I'm not the only one that gets scratched. I'm not the only one that has had really bad trouble over there. We've heard of some horrible incidents and talked to so many people stuff that has happened. So for the longest time, I felt like, what the hell is it with me? That, and I have learned, the empathic type stuff. I am a magnet for it. But still,
And not to say that we're happy that things happen to other people.
No.
But it's kind of a validation for
Exactly.
him that, you know, it wasn't just him. It wasn't something he did. I don't think it was ever anything that we actually did. You know, we never messed with like Ouija boards or called anything in, or paranormal was the farthest thing from my mind when we had our baby and moved into our house.
Wasn't on mine.
What I'm doing now is putting in the Backstage link, and then we're going to get to some EVP here.
Oh, nice.
And some of these, oh my goodness, I had to put these into the little broadcaster here. And
did you get the long one in there?
I got them all in there.
That long one, nobody's heard.
Oh,
ever.
That was
Not
my
publicly.
last.
No.
Was that my last time in there? Well, I think I went in.
They are horrifying.
Yeah. No.
And we have several that we're going to play. And I want to give them a chance to come back and maybe ask a question if they want to. You know, I realize a lot of people are shy and everything. You know, you guys can have your video off if you want. Just hit stop cam and it'll be just audio if you're shy. If you want to show yourself, fantastic. We'd love to see you. And what I'm doing is, hopefully I don't have any typos here, folks. I'm not the best at multitasking these days. I'm going to turn 52 this February. Please hold.
Anybody
And
want
Google
to
Chrome is required. Let me get this in here for them. And there it goes. So there's the Backstage link. If you guys want to do that, you just click the link. And what that's going to do is bring you right backstage. We'll pull you up in order the best we can. And then Google Chrome is required. Okay, that's the only browser that will run this program we use. So Google Chrome is required. So you can copy and paste that link in Google Chrome. That'll bring you backstage. And we'll get you on here shortly. But we've got some EVP here. And I can't see the times on these now. What we're going to do is start with, I'd like to start with this one because, I mean, Tony, you didn't make it during this investigation. Deb was there. And if you remember, Deb, we were upstairs in Sally's room trying to get her to blow out a candle. And we captured, these were all analog recordings. Those of you folks that don't know what that is, that's a tape recorder. If you don't know that, Google it. But we were using a tape recorder to capture this. And what you'll hear is Deb asking Sally to blow the candle out. And then you hear sounds in between there. And they resemble a breath trying to blow a candle out. Now, if I remember correctly, Deb, the candle was never blown out.
Right.
It flickered, it moved, but it never went out. But this is what we captured, and I'll play this here for you.
Look, Sally, put the candle out. I'm right here with you. Look, Sally, put the candle out. I'm right here with you.
Now, you know, with these captures, you guys can you know, take them as you will. Have an open mind with these. I'm not going to tell you what exactly they say. That's suggestive. So you, the ones that Deb sent today, you'll know, you'll know what's going on. Now, this one here, let's start with this one, guys. We have this one called Second Session Slam.
Oh, yeah. So this, we won't do a whole lot of the backstory. It's probably not needed, but we went back to the house to do a quick investigation. We were warned not to go in unprepared. So we had some psychic Reiki energy backing us up. We went in for the first time for about an hour and a half, went home, left something in place, went home, did dinner, came back again. Our Reiki partner had warned us against it, was not available because
didn't have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, didn't have a good feeling about it. We did not let her know we were going back to the house. We went in, and within 10 minutes, I don't even think it was 10 minutes, I had left the recorder, mind you, downstairs on the dining room table.
We went upstairs.
We went upstairs, looking around, checking what we had left. And it wasn't anything that should have been like enraging or, triggering or anything like that for a negative reaction. And then the next thing I know, I'm coming around the corner to the master bedroom, had just stepped in the room because I was saging, yeah, because we had heard some not so good things out of our first visit. So I was saging the room, cleansing it, because the whole energy had changed in the house when we went back in the second time. So as I'm coming around the corner of sage in the bowl in hand, Tony's standing in the room.
I had a camera, and I'm just kind of taking.
Yeah, he's just trying. He always gets the best pictures. so he's just taking pictures while Renee and I are doing other things. And I come into the room. I walk over the window across from the doorway, and I happen to turn back around and catch him a little bit better than just out of the corner of my eye. He literally lifted up 6 to 8 inches off the floor and slammed into the door behind him.
Wow.
And the door hit the wall, put a hole in the wall. So that is what you're going to be listening to.
And all I remember is walking in the room with the camera, take some shots, and I just got, I had to pause because I started getting really sick to my stomach. And that's what I remember until, well, you play the EVP.
You'll be able to hear. It's not really an EVP, but it is a recording of what was transpiring then. You can hear us chanting the Our Father. You can hear us trying to get Tony, to get up on his feet because he just couldn't. So, yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it, folks. Wow. Whoa.
That slam you hear was me hitting the door behind me that was a couple feet away from me. I remember coming to and having Deb, and they're saying prayers over me. And I remember trying to set up, and my shoulders, it just felt like something had my shoulders.
You could see the strain in his muscles. When you're straining, you can see them all like tightened up. You could see he was trying. He was giving it his all, but he was not being allowed up.
And Todd, I had come from work home, so I hadn't even changed I had laced up steel-toed work boots on. Whatever hit me so hard, it knocked me out of those boots. My boots stayed on the floor and knocked me plumb out of my boots. That's how hard it hit me.
Sent an electrical charge through the camera he was holding and melted the batteries in the compartment. Your cell phone too also
melted my cell phone.
It was just,
it was frightening. I mean, just sitting here listening to it, I told her, I said, man, that I get so many chills just listening to it because it's
terrifying.
Yeah.
So at that point, you know, we finally did the prayers, whatever, you know, actually released him. We got him up on his feet. I don't think we even turned out the lights in the other rooms. I went down and as we're shuffling him out the door, I went into the dining room downstairs and grabbed my recorder, and it was still going. And I caught up the other two, and we were out the door. It was still recording in the car. We have screams on EVP sitting in the car. We have, I think you have another one from when we were sitting in the car, a male voice.
I have one that says car.
Yes, that would be it.
You want me to play that one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's hear this one, folks.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. I'm hoping not everybody is so good at like picking out the EVPs. So I'm hoping that people are hearing what they're saying.
Excuse me.
They're hearing. They are hearing. And I think a lot of them are digesting. Just the first two alone they're terrifying. They just are. And researchers need to understand what they're getting into before they get into it. And these are some of the things you get into, folks. It's not going in there like Mr. Bagans and having a full crew and all this fun stuff. A lot of times you're unprotected, so you have to protect yourself. You use prayer, you use cleansing, you use whatever you need to use, ground yourself before you go in there. Use precaution, use common sense most of all. And these things happen. And to Deb and Tony, they happen a lot. And I have the utmost respect for you two.
What you were saying, you know, when you go into a location, you know, have protection, you know, we learned a lot from that situation because we were warned not to go by a higher being that informed our Reiki person. Our Reiki person did their job. We did not hear the warning.
We were stupid that time.
Yeah.
Not only that, when we pulled up outside,
there were more
our friend
warnings.
Renee said she saw a shadow figure move across the living room, a very tall,
dark shadow.
Yeah.
When we got to the front door, we felt the negative energy just pouring out of the house. We did we do a prayer every time we go into an investigation. So we did that before we entered. Maybe that protected us from it coming home with us, but I don't know. Something still wanted to let us know that he wanted to kill us.
and that particular slam EVP, when I'd gotten out to the car, I felt like I was on fire. My skin was just burning everywhere. And we'd known at that point, okay, I've probably got a scratch somewhere. And Deb lifted my shirt and I think let out another little scream.
Yeah, he was just covered.
I was covered from my head to my toes. I was scratched. We stopped counting at like 250 scratches.
We did. It wasn't quite that high.
It was pretty high.
It was high, but it wasn't 200.
Something like that. It's been a long time. But yeah, I just know I had him from head to toe.
Head to toe, back and front.
We got
his
some
legs,
photos
arms,
of it,
everything. Yeah, he was just covered.
That's unbelievable. I mean, ooh, to take all of that for all these years, guys, all these years, incredible.
And then to go back for more.
Wait, that's your quest for knowledge there. I think it's a whole knowledge thing, answers, closure.
Yeah.
We all seek that, especially in this field. We want closure. We want to know if there's something on the other side of that veil. You know, is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is there this? Is there that?
Are so searching for that information.
I think that, and for me too, it was a lot of my faith. I was like, you know, I've got God on my side. I'm not going to let this thing get the best of me. And that's probably what has
I don't doubt
kept me the most,
and there's instances where we've been at conventions and stuff and things have gone a little off the rails, we'll just say. And it's definitely been, there's been 2 instances where we've had an experience that could have turned very bad very quickly. And it was only by the grace of God and the prayers that were put into place at the time that changed the outcome. My belief in God and prayer has never been higher. We'll just say that.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, freaking amazing what you two have been through, and the knowledge that you could teach others is you can't put a cap on that. You can't put a price on that either, because you guys have been there, done that. And a lot of these people are questing to have an experience such as that. And I think they need to rethink what they're wanting, because, you know, there's a lot of change in the community. There's a lot of strife in the community right now. There's a lot of people going one way, others going another, old school versus new school, what have you. Blend it all together, get the knowledge, share the evidence, share your experiences. Don't just go out there with a flashlight and try to get the hell scared out of you. It's not going to work. You know, I mean, that's not how this operates. You have to be dead serious. You have to do your homework, do your research. You know, you can't just kick in there and, hey, what's up? It's not like that. They don't perform, you know, and provoking as well. You guys didn't provoke at all, and look what happened to you. I mean, it's incredible. It is nothing short of amazing. It really is. And to have you two here, sitting here, talking with us again, wow, what an honor that is. What a true honor that is.
Thank you.
We've got time for maybe a couple more. We've got time for maybe a couple more here, guys. This one here in particular, it's grabbing my attention. And it's entitled Swallow.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Let's try this one here. And again, folks, some of these are going to be a little cranky. Some of these may be vulgar. Some of these may frighten you. That's not the intention. It's simply sharing their experience and what they've gone through. So here's another piece of that puzzle.
Swallow your soul. What? Swallow your soul. What?
No, I'm gone. Anybody tells me they're going to swallow my soul, where's the door?
Yeah.
I have to say, literally, that's what it felt like it was doing.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Consuming you slowly.
Slowly. Yeah, exactly. Slowly. It was literally swallowing you, and just so you didn't exist anymore. It didn't. That's what.
And the thing is this is the way demonic presence behaves, slowly, so you don't know what's happening. It's like boiling a lobster. They don't know they're dying.
They've been around so much longer than us, and they've had time to study us. They know every way we function. They know every way to get to us.
That's why they can manipulate electronics and send messages through phones. We've had countless messages through phones in languages we don't even understand, characters that aren't even available on our phone. This was way back when cell phones first started. I think you were around when we had a ringtone. We had somebody call the phone. There was nobody there, of course, on a ringtone we didn't even have on our phone. Yeah, just all
random things like that. Things to get your attention and to help feed.
Right.
You know, to bring that fear back, to give it its next meal.
Right.
You know,
this is the draw. This is what it does to bring people back and make them want more. Oh, I can fix something, or I can help something.
Yeah. Can't help a damn thing.
No.
Can't fix a damn thing.
No.
And give an A for effort for trying, I guess.
Yeah.
But
right.
Good luck. Good luck with that one. And now, if you can you remember that long one, Deb? I can't see the times on these anymore.
Yeah, no, the slam, that was the long one.
That was the long one?
That was the longest EVP I sent you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this one, oh my goodness, we only got a few minutes. This will be the last one we play. Then we're going to close things out. So I want you guys to give out some info. This one is entitled Tony is Fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, let's check this one out. This will be the last one we play for the night here. Hearing these again, what do they do to you guys? I mean, hearing some of these taking you back. I mean, is it a trigger for you? Because I don't want to do that.
No, it's not a trigger. I mean, granted, you kind of relive it a little bit. You get a quick flash of what is there, and you feel, you know, it still sends tingles up your spine. And but I've learned just to be thankful that we survived it, and hope that we can, you know, help others survive it, and through our experiences and what we know now, because we were so clueless at the time. And like I said, to have anybody feel that helpless feeling that we felt, I don't want anybody to feel that. It was horrible. So hopefully we can do something about that.
And you actually can, through Pickman's Unfiltered, you can. Because
that's what we want to do with it.
I think this is going to attract not only like-minded people, but people that are in similar situations. It's going to bring them out to a safe place where they can sit, discuss, and learn. And between everybody involved, you just may screw up and find an answer.
Right? Wouldn't that be the utmost?
Yeah.
Let alone just to know that you can survive.
Or that you have someone else in your corner that you can contact, you know, if you're just needing someone. You know, nobody should be alone with the feelings and emotions that come up when you're dealing with these extreme cases.
I couldn't agree more. And Bonnie has a final question here. As adults, have your sons experienced anything paranormal?
Our youngest and our oldest both have, we'll call them sensitivities. Have they picked up, you know, like stuff that goes on in the negative Sally House kind of related stuff? No, they have senses of their own and tune into them and use them rarely, I'm going to say.
Have they seen a few things that you wish they never would have seen?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Things, you know, when things were happening so much here at house, it got so common that there was one particular incident when I was sleeping and apparently caught fire, and my youngest son, walked by and just said, "Mom, Dad's on fire again."
And then just kept going into the kitchen.
Oh, gee.
Because they were so used to it.
So used to it.
Yeah. Kids should not be used to environments like that.
Kids say the damnedest things, don't they?
Right?
Dad's on fire again. I mean, you can't help but laugh at something like that.
Really good, funny moments in it all. The day Tony thought he was going to be swallowed up by the tub in our new house. That was a good one. It happened to be a cat who had gotten under the crawl space under the tub. But all the banging around, him trying to get out, Tony thought
for sure something was going to suck me down that drain.
Oh, to live like that, Tony. My goodness. You guys are a breath of fresh air. And so many great things. And people probably didn't come backstage. They wanted to listen to you. We had a few pop in there and they popped out. I think they got a little afraid. It happens. You know, you don't have to have your video on, but maybe next time. Maybe next time. Maybe
That's okay, because we've got the Pickman's Unfiltered Facebook page.
Yes.
You guys can post questions in there. We're starting to like upload all kinds of like old pictures from '93 and stuff when Sightings was at the house. So yeah, we're throwing more things out there and trying to explain some more of what has happened. So hopefully that'll answer some questions for people, or get people thinking about things.
And I just put that in there. That's what you're just going to go to Facebook and search Pickman's Unfiltered. And trust me, it comes up. I've tried several ways to Sunday, and it comes right up, guys. So
I don't think there's a whole lot of websites or a whole lot of
Facebook
pages like that.
It comes right up, and you can see some of those pictures from the past. Also, Tony, you've also posted. You guys have posted some of Tony's injury photos, things of that nature. Now, there's something about an auction as well on eBay. How do they find that, guys?
They can find that on the Unfiltered Pickman's Unfiltered page too. We're trying to broadcast that everywhere. It's also
get it out there.
It's also listed on eBay under Pickman's Unfiltered Specialty Services. It's really hard to find a subject or a niche to put paranormal anythings,
especially on eBay.
Yes. Yeah. So we did as best as we could, but we are so looking forward to this because this is an event for the Halloween weekend. If anybody's not got anything to do, they might want to really look into putting in a bid soon.
Come hang with us. We guarantee you'll have a great time.
Yeah.
We got so many stories, evidence to show.
My computer's coming out with all the EVPs and photographs, and you will not have to go home worrying that you didn't get enough Sally.
You'll be Sally-fied.
Yes, there you go. Sally-fied.
This, I mean, to have you two on here, I mean, maybe down the road we can do another one here. I mean, I don't want to schedule anything. I want to keep myself open, keep you guys open for it as well.
You got a lot on your plate too.
Yeah. there's a lot going on. Garden candy's not easy. But there's, you two taking the time out tonight, giving us a couple hours of your time and knowledge and experience. I can't thank you enough. I know the audience loves you for it and respects you for it, because to experience what you experience is one thing, but to share it with an audience, that's another thing. That takes courage. And I always say on the other side of fear is courage. And Tony, I think you've mastered that, my friend.
Oh, thank you, brother.
I think you've mastered that. And you two are two of the strongest people I know. And I hope, I can only hope that my relationship sticks like yours, because that is true love, what you two are going through.
Yep.
And
there's
it is
ups and downs, but yeah.
Oh, sure.
It is indestructible. And when the paranormal things that you can't see can't get you, I think we're pretty sturdy.
Thanks.
Okay. You two hang tight 1 second. I'm going to close out the show, and then I'll check in with you here backstage. Hang tight 1 second. And all you folks listening, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedules for tonight's special broadcast of Haunted Voices. Like I said, nothing scheduled. I don't know if it'll be back. I don't know. So I'm not going to say. But I will tell you that
things can go in all kinds of different directions.
You never know.
We don't know.
And that's the beauty of life, is you don't know. If you see it, great. If you don't, that's great too, folks. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe out there if you're out and about. And remember, the paranormal is more than likes, followers, and film crews. Please get out there. Get your hands dirty. Get your feet wet. Do what you got to do to find those answers. Work hard at them, folks. Stay humble. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.